Right. Hello. Hi, Andy. Hi, everyone who's joining us today. We are here to just do session 2 of our Empowering Ourselves with Health series. And the reason why I'm so pleased to have Andy, who I will introduce again for those of you that haven't already seen him on my other videos, is because at the moment, everyone's going through a lot with what's been happening over the last year and a half. And what we really wanted to do is focus on some really positive things that people can do to sort of take back control of their health. And even though today in this session with Andy, we're going to be talking about us humans, just bear in mind, any of you that have got pets, that anything that we're talking about today equally applies to our pets. Okay, so when you're just putting comments, you can ask questions about yourself and about your pets. But for those of you that haven't met Andy, Andy is absolutely amazing. He is a holistic health practitioner. He has got so much knowledge in all aspects of health, wellness, spiritual, physical, emotional. And so Andy's going to be sort of my guest today, really talking through the very, very important subject of gut health. So Andy, anything else you want to say to introduce yourself?
No, thanks. That was that was a lovely introduction. Thanks, Catherine. And it's thanks. It's an absolute pleasure. It really is a pleasure and an honor coming on your calls because you've always inspired me with everything you do with animals and humans, and I've learned so much from you over the years we've known each other. It's been incredible. So I really, really appreciate you asking me as a guest to come on. So yeah, basically, I'll just give you a very, very quick little bit more of an introduction about myself. I was a soldier for the first 6 years of my working career. And then I spent the last 30 years as a firefighter, and I've literally just finished after 30 years. They call it retire, but I'm not retiring. I've just finished in the fire brigade. And but for the last 20 years or so, I've been a holistic health practitioner, and I've trained with people like Paul Chek from the Chek Institute. People may have heard of many other people, but one person I'd really like to shout out is Emma Lane. I don't know if any people know Emma Lane. Emma Lane, I class Emma Lane as one of my mentors. I've learned so much from Emma over the years on her courses and through other things about the gut, how it works, taking away everything that I learned from the mainstream education that I had and brought it over to the real world, to how the gut really works. What protocols can you use to keep the gut healthy? And also that we went deep down the parasite route and things like that on courses. And so I've got to give a big shout out to Emma. So that's just a little tiny bit about me, Catherine. But I think before we actually go into this about the gut is so important. With the knowledge that you've got on the gut, I would love you to maybe give us a start on this to maybe introduce people who may not be too sure. What is the gut? Where is it? What is the gut? A lot of people think it's the stomach. Okay, so what is the gut? What is microbiome? And why is it so important to keep it healthy?
Great question. Great question. And by the way, Diane B, I'm looking at your question, so I will come back to that once we've covered this bit. Okay, so I'm not ignoring that about your kitty. But the gut, so you're right. Lots of people, when they think of the gut, they think of colonics, the colon, the large intestine. And that's historically where a lot of people have concentrated their efforts because unfortunately, a lot of people now, and no animals, but a lot of people have gut problems. And a lot of people don't even realize because so much of our health has got so out of balance that people think that their gut habits are normal when actually they're far from normal. So when we're talking about the gut, we're literally starting in the mouth, going all the way down the esophagus, into the stomach, into the small intestine, large intestine, and out through the anus. And we're looking at the whole of that. And feeding into the gut, you've got a lot of key organs and that play a vital role in terms of the gut function. So in terms of what we are going to look at for the gut function, if we don't digest our food properly, then we're not getting the nutrients that we need to thrive. But there's a bigger problem than that. And what scientists now realize is actually we are more microbiome than we are human cells. So we have actually got millions of what they call the microbiome. not just lining our sites, because actually they found that every single organ of the body has got its own unique microbiome. But today we're just going to be focusing on the gut. And that's because about 70 to 80% of our immune system happens in the gut. So the gut is one of our main lines of defense between us and the environment, but it's also crucially linking us to our environment. So microbiome, what do we mean about the microbiome? Well, the microbiome consists of trillions of bacteria and fungi, and some people put viruses in the microbiome. Viruses is a little bit more controversial about whether you lump it into the category of microbiome or not, because the microbiome is meant to be living, and we all know that viruses are not actually living. They're not a standalone living organism, unlike a fungi and a bacteria. But what these little critters within us do, they're absolutely fascinating, because they're responsible for so much of our biology and our physiology. So what do I mean by that? Well, basically, we cannot digest food and get nutrients, vitamins, minerals, all the nutrients, the macronutrients we need to grow, reproduce, thrive, without the gut bacteria and the fungi digesting these. And what they do is they actually take the food that we eat, digest it, break it down into absorbable forms that then goes back through our gut lining. So the microbiome is absolutely crucially important to all aspects of our health. And unfortunately, the way that sort of pharmaceutical medicine has gone has unfortunately done a lot to damage that microbiome, because until sort of probably 20, 30 years ago, the significance of it wasn't known. And then once it was known, unfortunately, it wasn't widely publicized. So people were still making choices which weren't making it thrive. So in a nutshell, the microbiome is living in symbiosis with us humans and with all other animals. All animals have got their own distinct microbiome. And it's really connecting us with our environment, but also making every single physiological function of our body work properly.
Wow, there we go. That is the absolute basics of what the microbiome is. And yeah, you know, I talk about poop a lot. Okay.
Yes, we love to talk about
poop.
Poop.
We love poop. There's nothing weird about poop, okay? Because with poop, there's a couple of things that you should check regular, and one of them is your poop. And I mean, actually, you know, look in the toilet and check your poop. When you go to the toilet, you know yourself. Am I pooping correctly? Is it too soft? Am I struggling for it to come out? What does it smell like? And a lot of people say, oh, this is disgusting, but it's so important, because your poop will tell you so much about how your digestive system is working. So, you know, but just as a starter, just bear in mind that poop is very, very important. And that gut as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you remember this, Catherine, but there's something like, in fact, I'm not going to go into figures, but what I will say, there are more neurological signals going from your gut into your brain than there is going from your brain into your gut. Okay, so I'll say that again. There's more neurological signals and output going from your gut into your brain than there is from your brain to your gut. And that's one of the reasons they call the gut your second brain. Has anybody ever had that gut feeling? That gut feeling that something's happened? That's where it comes from. I'm not saying that's what a gut feeling is. That's where these sayings come from, because it is regarded as your second brain. Your gut is regarded as your second brain. So bear that in mind as well. And also remember this, somewhere in the region, the figures differ slightly, somewhere in the region of 75% of your immune system is within your gut. Think about that. It's a huge figure. 75% of your immune system is in your gut, or is influenced from your gut. So if your gut isn't healthy, if your microbiome isn't kept healthy, how's that going to affect your immune system? And regardless of what anybody thinks about what's going on in the world now, everybody realizes the immune system is ultra important. Okay, so these are a lot of things to think about. Now, there's one huge issue that's been going on for a lot of years, and it's poisons that come into our body via the environment, via breathing, via absorption, via ingestion from food. And one of the worst, if not the worst pesticide out there is something called glyphosate. Glyphosate out and out destroys that gut, absolutely destroys it. And Catherine will tell you, humans get tested for glyphosate, and I know people who have eaten 100% organic diet and as clean as they can, and they still tested positive for glyphosate because it's in the air, it's in fields. And Catherine will tell you that when it comes to animals, especially dogs, cats, things that feed off the ground and sniffing everywhere, the amount of glyphosate in an animal's body is incredible. So what does glyphosate do to that microbiome? Well, the way I like to simplify things. I like to think, how would I like something explained to me simply? And this is the way Dave Sandoval, the guy who created this product I'm going to talk about, for me, the best product in the world that I've ever seen to help draw glyphosate out of the body. Now, if it draws glyphosate out of the body, it's going to draw other pesticides and chemicals out of the body as well, because glyphosate sticks, and it's not impossible to get out, but it's so tough to get out of the body. So think about this. Think about your microbiome, okay? Think of it, think of the villi, okay? These little villi in your gut. Think of that as grass, and the villi are the things, the little villi absorb your nutrition. They absorb the nutrients and send them to the body. That's your little villi wiggling about like this. And on top of the villi, you've got a load of ants, okay? And these ants are like on top of the grass, protecting the villi is the grass, the ants are the microbiome. So the villi is the grass, the ants are the microbiome, okay? Protecting that grass so nothing can get through. So everything gets absorbed nicely. Imagine if something poisonous comes into the body, let's say glyphosate. It comes in and it doesn't just kill and damage some of the ants, and other ants can come in and replace them. It destroys them. Those ants are gone. And then that leaves the villi open to destruction. And then what happens, the glyphosate comes in and it starts withering away and killing the villi. When that microvilli dies, how does your body absorb things? How is it going to absorb it? Yes, you do get some absorption in other areas like your stomach, but how is your body going to absorb things? So what we need is something that can come in, grab that glyphosate, pull it away, and then also start bringing that villi, which is the grass, back to life, and start adding these ants in, okay, which is the protection for the villi and the grass. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something that can bring all of that out and bring it back to life.
Can I just add one thing to that as well? Because I love that description, because I work very well with visual, to sound. So that really works for me. Now, one of the other things, just to add to what Andy was describing there, the villi, your gut lining, is one cell thick. And if you can imagine, let me get this right in front of the camera, the cells are held together with like Velcro, like attachments, which they call tight junctions. So if you imagine your intestine linings, one cell thick, held together with nice tight Velcro linings, but when these poisons come in, it breaks those Velcro linings and you get a gap in the tight junctions. And this is what we call leaky gut, which I know Andy is going to come on to talk about. But leaky gut is so, so serious, because what it means is all the larger molecules that should be kept within your digestive system actually then get through too early before they've been fully broken down and into your blood system. And the body then recognizes those as invaders, and that sets off chronic inflammation, and what we would call autoimmune diseases as well can be very linked to this. And one other thing, going back to what Andy said, you picked out a very important point there. Absolutely. And I've got some figures to come on to later about the levels of glyphosate, but our animals, and this includes horses, dogs, cats, guinea pigs, you name it, they typically have at least 10 times more glyphosate in their body, at least, than we do. And this is absolutely devastating to their health, not only because often they're fed poor quality food, but also because they're in touch with the ground, they lick their paws, they lick their fur. But also every single hair follicle on an animal that's covered in fur has its own blood supply, so it siphons in those pollutions. So you picked out some really good points there, Andy. So you
Yeah,
and I have been using one of the really good products, because what we want to do is give people not horror stories, but practical solutions. And there's lots out there, but you've got a really good one that you and I have been using for years, haven't you? That we know is really effective.
Yeah, I'll just pick up on that point. I don't need to say anything about about the autoimmune disease and the leaky gut. You just said it all there. But yeah, just to reiterate, really important, when those cells do separate, then the bigger, I don't mean big chunks of meat, I mean they're still very, very tiny particles, but those tiny particles do go into the blood system. They do get recognized by the body's system as invaders, and the body will create autoimmune disease, an autoimmune response, which goes to autoimmune disease. And it's out and out verified, it's irrefutable, that every single modern day disease that we've got in our society today is created by inflammation. And that's one of the very, very common ways. I'm going to give you a really, really simple example of somebody who's got an issue with leaky gut at some level. Anybody who drinks coffee, if they want to go to the toilet after drinking coffee, depending on the severity of that, they've got a leaky gut. If they don't want to go to the toilet quite soon after drinking coffee, it doesn't mean they haven't, but it just means maybe they're not so sensitive. So if you drink coffee and you think, oh, coffee's great because, you know, coffee does help you go to the toilet. It's one of the things that stimulates the bowel. Okay, it really does stimulate that area, and it stimulates what they call peristalsis, which is basically the colon moving like this. Okay, the colon moves and pushes all the fecal matter down. But if you drink coffee and you're like, wow, I need to go to the toilet quite soon after it, you know, there's an issue going there. So we need to find out, how can we start the body's healing process? We don't use things like we can help heal. What we do is we eat things and we consume things and we do things in our life that allows our body to either speed up its healing process or add to its healing process to make it better. So the body heals itself. All we can do is aid in that healing. Okay, that's all we can do. So yeah, how do you get rid of this glyphosate? How do you get that and all these other pesticides? How do we do that? There's many ways, there's many protocols out there, but we need simplicity in our life. We don't want many people that I've treated over the years do not want these complex protocols. A lot of people want a pill for an ill. That's what they want. Okay, and really they don't exist, but this one does. This is incredible. So this is called, in America, North America, it's called Biomedic. In the UK and Europe, it's called Gut Harmony. It's just a brand name. But basically, the guy who designed this, who formulated this, called Dave Sandoval. Dave Sandoval spent years formulating this product because he knows the importance of what the results of having something like this will have on people's health for everyone that consumes it. You know, Biomedic, or Gut Harmony as we call it, it really is a truly proprietary formula, and it's filled with all types of natural ingredients. And I don't know if anybody's heard of the gold seal, okay, but in the Detox project, but this was awarded the gold seal in the Detox project as a glyphosate detox solution. So it's regarded by some of the highest awards out there as a detox solution if you've got glyphosate. Well, there's no if, when we have got glyphosate in our body. So when you think of the ingredients in it, there's not a lot of ingredients in it, but it doesn't need to be, but they need to be powerful. One of them is a patented superior, what they call a superior prebiotic, which is called PreBioSure. And it's in essence a digestive wheat germ extract. But I've got to say, this isn't gluten-free, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in a minute, okay? Now, this wheat germ extract is made from non-GMO and organic food-grade wheat germ, okay? These are important things to remember. Non-GMO, so it's not genetically modified, and it's an organic food-grade wheat germ, which means it's not a wheat germ that the body will react to if it goes into the body. It's food-grade, which means the body will recognize it and it'll be more bioavailable, as they say. There's also something called chicory root fiber extract. Now, chicory root contains something called inulin, and inulin is a prebiotic fiber that can improve that digestive health. We all know about fibers, and there's lots of different types of fibers, the way they work. We're not going to go into that, but just bear in mind that chicory root contains inulin, and inulin is a prebiotic fiber that can improve digestive health. There's also something called how do you pronounce this? Humixture. That's it, humixture. Basically, it's a mixture of fulvic acid and humic acid. And what fulvic and humic acid can do is help feed all those vital minerals that you bring into digest in your body to get absorbed. It can help feed those vital minerals directly into that gut. Okay, it'll bring them and direct them straight into that gut, all of those minerals. That's what fulvic and humic acid can do. But it's also what they call a chelator. Things will bond to it. So toxins will bond to it, which is chelating. The toxins will bond to it. It'll gather them all together and it'll take them away, which will allow that villi. Remember that villi, that grass? It'll allow that villi to regenerate. Okay, so as much as not a lot of ingredients in there, it's the power of the ingredients, what they can do. And the last thing I want to talk about is something called lactospore. Okay, lactospore, this is the specific bacteria that the microbiome uses to eliminate toxins out of the body and stop your body getting poisoned. So, like I said, there's not a lot of ingredients in there, but from that little bit that I just said there, how powerful is that? And it's important to remember as well, this was given a proper 6-week trial.
Yeah.
This product was given a proper 6-week trial. And the trial is available online on the website Catherine's showing you now. And this trial showed 2 incredibly important things. What happened during those 6 weeks? It took up to 74% of the glyphosate out of the people's bodies. Okay. Up to 74% of the glyphosate out of people's bodies in 6 weeks. And it reduced something called C-reactive protein, CRP. Now, CRP, C-reactive protein, is the inflammation marker that you'll get during blood tests to see if your body's inflamed. It doesn't tell you what's wrong with the body, but it says the body's inflamed, there's something going on. Now, in 6 weeks, it took out up to 70, or should I say it reduced by up to 75% the CR protein results. So if it can do those 2 things, draw up to 74% of glyphosate out of your body and reduce the inflammation in your body by up to 75% in 6 weeks, what's it going to do for you if you take it for the rest of your life? Okay, what can it do if you just take it as part of your daily nutrition for the rest of your life? The things it can do, it can help detoxify the glyphosate out of your body. And like I say, if you research glyphosate, man, you won't believe how devastating glyphosate is to the body. Just look up a guy called Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and have a look at the work that he's done. He took these glyphosate producers, Monsanto, basically to court, and he destroyed them for tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions, I don't know, for people who got cancers using products with glyphosate in it. Okay, and it's terrible to take out of the body as well. Remember what I just said about what this stuff can do. It can also improve your digestion because of everything we've said. If you improve your digestion, you're going to boost your mood, you're going to feel happier, your immune system is going to go up a lot higher, and your inflammation is going to go down by reducing that C-reactive protein. So remember what I said about how it pulls the glyphosate out. And the great thing is, one of the questions I get is it good for kids? Is it safe for kids? 100%, absolutely. Just be careful of the doses, obviously. So I just want to go back into the gluten side of it. So that wheat germ does contain gluten, but it doesn't work like normal gluten works. However, if you are a severe celiac sufferer, then you could get a reaction of it. But there was a study conducted regarding gluten in the biomedic, or the Gut Harmony, and I'm just gonna read right here because I want to read it word from word. Okay, so I'm going to read it word for word. This is what the conclusion of that study was. One would have to ingest almost 10 of these pills that we're talking about per day to be exposed to the same amount of gluten contained in one single serving of gluten-free pasta, and over 500 pills to reach the threshold established in the American Society for Clinical Nutrition study from 2007. So unless you're a severe celiac, you're not going to get any reactions from the gluten. Okay, but all I would say is start easy and build yourself in, because it can affect your bowel movements. But that's a good thing. We want to affect the bowel movements, but you don't want to affect it to discomfort. Okay, so what can you expect to feel when you're taking this stuff? Better digestion, better assimilation of all of those nutrients we talked about that's going to get assimilated by the villi into your body. And if you're getting better assimilation, you're going to get better elimination. What's better elimination? It means your pooping is going to improve. And trust me, okay, I'm gonna say this because Emmeline said to me one day, she said, when you sit down to have a poop, it should be done and dusted in a minute. Shouldn't be sitting there struggling or what. It should be done and dusted. It should be in and out in a minute. So when you sit down and you poop, she said, you should, once you finished your poop, she said, it should be, wow, that felt amazing. Now, hands on heart, how many of us can turn around and say we get that every time that we poop? So if we don't, our digestion, yeah, exactly, Catherine, our digestion isn't working to its optimal, but that's okay. We can work on it and we can get things going. It's maybe a goal. Maybe it could be a goal. The goal could be one day I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go, that was amazing. And I know it really sounds strange talking about poop, but it's so, so, so important. And we need to talk about things that are maybe a bit taboo to people so we can explain how we can take our lives forward. Now, there's a 6-week protocol that you can use for this. What we suggest is when you first try biomedic or gut harmony is buy 2 tubs. Because the 6-week protocol, which Catherine can give you, she can give it to you in a written form. This is what Dave Sandoval recommends. Week 1, take 1 capsule twice a day. Week 2 and 3, take 2 capsules twice a day. Then week 4, 5, and 6, go back to 1 capsule twice a day. Then week 6 onwards, all I would say on that is use a maintenance dose. Now, if you're super clean, fully organic, 1 capsule a day is plenty. And there's 60 in a tub. So 1 tub's going to last you a month. That's how powerful it is. If I go through days where I'm thinking, well, my diet wasn't too clean, for a couple of days, I'll take 1 in the morning and 1 in the night. And then I'll go back to 1 a day. So you can play about with it and you'll know yourself the best way to do this. It all depends on the cleanliness of your diet. And one big thing a lot of people say to me is, Andy, all the products that you use, if there's one product, if you have to get rid of everything, all the extra products outside of your food and your diet, what would you keep? Without a shadow of a doubt, for me, the most important product in my daily life is this, biomedic or gut harmony. But do not, there it is there. Okay, that's the European version.
Just to point out again that for those customers in the UK and Europe, it's called Gut Harmony, but all the links are below the videos. And don't worry, everyone, we will come on to your questions in a sec. We haven't forgotten you. Yeah. I agree, Andy. For me, it's the absolute most, not just for me, but also for my animals. So it's really, really important.
Yeah. Just to finish off, I'd say lost my train of thought there.
That's my fault.
Yeah, it's okay. I was going to say one thing, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, that is the absolute one product that I would keep, because for me, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, this isn't a replacement for probiotics.
Yeah,
you can use probiotics along with this, but have a chat with Catherine about that as well, because you don't want to stay on the same probiotics all the time. You want to rotate them. And what I found personally is you want a probiotic that carries at least 40 billion, not strains, but 40 billion bacteria in each dose. That's what you want, at least 40 billion bacteria in each dose. That's what I found has worked really well. But some people will need less, some people will need more. But, when you talk about a generalization, so don't replace this for probiotics, use your probiotics alongside it.
I'm going to actually say something about that, because the latest Zach Bush study has shown that probiotics are very damaging if they're used for more than a very short period of time, just because they've been shown. There was a study that was done back in 2017 that was published in the journal Cell, And basically they showed that the use of probiotics for more than a very short period of time, and we're talking dates, actually destroyed the microbiome. Because unfortunately now, because of the way that probiotics are licensed, they put, even though they have a lot of colony forming units, which mean there's a large number, they're from a very narrow strain of bacteria. So most of the clients that I do see, and Zach Bush is absolutely brilliant on this. If people have heard of Zach Bush, if not, Zach Bush MD has got a brilliant website with masses of information on this that he will explain to your heart's content. The most brilliant videos will explain that really well. But Andy, this product is so important, because we can't all avoid it. I'm going to come on to some of the questions now, and then come on to some free things that you can do, which are really powerful to help your gut. But this one we've been looking at is, does leaky gut cause acid reflux? Have you got any experience with that?
Yeah. Wow, acid reflux. Okay, I'm going to try and keep this short. Does leaky gut cause it? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one, to be honest. But what I will say about acid reflux is this: when you get acid reflux, in my experience, clinical experience, 99 times out of 100 is because of a lack of sulfuric acid, not too much sulfuric acid. So if you've got a lack of sulfuric acid in the stomach, and the doctors are giving you all of these antacids. What was that, Catherine?
Hydrochloric.
Yeah, sorry. What did I say?
Yeah. Sulfuric, but that's fine.
Sorry, you want sulfuric acid
earlier, so don't worry. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I don't know where that came from. Yeah, if you've got too little hydrochloric acid in your body, in your stomach, and they're giving you antacids, you're going to get less and less and less. Now, this is the way that I see it. I'm not saying I'm 100% right for everybody here, but you've got a pyloric sphincter, okay? And it's a one-way valve, basically. It opens and closes, and it opens up the way. Now, when you eat something that goes in your stomach, the sulfuric acid churns it all up into a mulch. And when it churns it up into a mulch, there's none of these bigger particles we're talking about. It then goes through into your intestine, and it gets absorbed from there, to cut a long story short. Now, if you haven't got a lot of, I say sulfuric again, a lot of hydrochloric acid in there, then it's not going to churn up. And what can happen, it can sit there and ferment. Fermentation gives off a gas. Now, I believe inside the stomach, you only need something like a bar, or just over 1 bar of pressure, which is 15 psi of pressure, to move that valve up. Okay. Now, when that valve, that one-way valve, gets pushed up, any acid that is in there can easily reflux up, and that's reflux. Whereas if you've got plenty of hydrochloric acid in your gut, in your stomach, that valve isn't going to be forced open. Now, that's not the only reason for it. Okay, there's plenty of other reasons, but that is a very, very common reason. And maybe this is where Catherine's going to go. We're talking about natural, free, not cheap remedies that you can do to help that.
Yeah. So in terms of the leaky gut, I agree with everything that Andy's just said then. And absolutely, the microbiome will have a big impact on that, because basically every part of your body is connected and sending messages. And as Andy explained at the start, they call the gut the second brain, because we've got far more communication going from the gut to the brain than from the brain to the gut. So when your microbiome is out of balance, it's sending the wrong messages to your stomach and to all your pancreas and all the other areas of your body, that is putting that whole system out of alignment. So you will definitely find an improvement with acid reflux with this product. I personally know several people who've used it for that. I'm just going to answer a few of the questions, then come on to the free things. I think this is a really good thing from Brenda. That I know we've spoken about before, Andy, about, yes, if it's true that we will be careful with our words here because we're streaming live, might be trying to interrupt products that build up the immune system. I think that's definitely true. I think there's a really concerted effort. We're seeing that in a lot of the health shops and everything. So personally, I've done a couple of videos on prepping. And these are some of the things that I absolutely don't run out of, because we can't avoid the glyphosate, the pesticides, the herbicides getting into our system, because not only are they in our foods, however careful they are, but our water, our air, the chemtrails, where we walk, etc. So for me, and I would reiterate what Andy said, this is the #1 product I would have, because sometimes when supplies are short, you cannot be too fussy about what food you're having. And so this will ensure that you're not doing damage with that food. So I think that's a very, very good question. And then similarly, I think here from Mary, this is a very good question. Yeah, completely appreciate that all these things cost money. When you look at this, one dose, I think one bottle, which as Andy said on the maintenance dose, can be 2 months if you're eating properly. And we're going to come on to food in a minute. And I think that's $60 at full price. But when you look on the site, and depends where you are, Mary, what country you're in, when you look at your site, you'll see there's lots of cost saving options. And also below this video, you will all see there's gift card codes. So regardless of whether you're in the USA or whether you're in the UK or Europe or Canada, you will be able to get 50 of whatever currency, euros or dollars, off your first order, which means you will virtually get your first bottle for free. And what I would say is try it and see how you feel, because I promise you, you won't look back.
Can I give just a couple little testimonials on this, Catherine?
Yeah.
In fact, I'm just going to give one. I could give lots, and there's a great on the website that Catherine was showing earlier. When you go to Biomedic, you'll be able to see a blog page. It's a great page. Now, the company don't claim anything, so it's illegal to claim things, but they've had amazing, I mean, phenomenal results with pulling autism back with kids using this product. But what I want to focus on is numerous people I know personally, in my family, friends, and people I've treated within the clinical environment, without even doing the protocol, just taking one in the morning, one in the evening, without changing their diet. I have seen a massive ease in their psoriasis. Okay, now you think about it, just about every skin complaint comes from an issue in the gut. People don't realize that it comes out in the skin. Psoriasis is a gut issue. Okay, it is really in essence a gut issue. And just by taking these two products, or this one product, one in the morning, one in the evening, without doing any protocols, I've seen that go away. So imagine how powerful it can be if you do that 6-week protocol to begin with as well. So I just wanted to throw that in there, just so people got an idea some of the things that it can help.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. There's a lot of information on there. So it's worth looking at the USA site, even if you're not ordering from the USA, because there's a lot more information that they can put on there. And that's because their legislation is less stringent. And CL Lindstrom is saying the links from France not working. Unfortunately, today, the Platinum Health website is down.
Typical.
They are working on it. Now, it's interesting. We've all been hearing about these internet outages. My website, catherineedwards.life, got taken down overnight with security breaches or something. And my website guys have got it back up. And today, the Platinum website is down. So they are working on it and they should have it up. They're hoping by the end of today. So apologies for that. But if not, if you try again tomorrow. So the links are correct. But the European and UK website is down today. And isn't it interesting? We've been talking about these internet problems for a long while. And the lady that mentioned earlier about, are they trying to stop the supplies? Well, that's my website and this one that have both gone down today. Mine's back up again now. Let's hope theirs will be soon. So, yes, I'm sorry about that. So final few questions before we just say a few things. The issue is interstitial coagulation, lymphatic waste with and around the cells and spaces between them. Absolutely. And the microbiome plays an absolutely critical point in this. So I completely agree with that, Starlight. Now, one of the other things that Andy and I spend a long time working with our clients of whatever species with is what you can do in your day-to-day lives. And there's 3 really important things to look at to make your microbiome, but also the interstitial coagulation. That is, as you know, Starlight is very linked to the alkalinity levels in your body. And the microbiome is absolutely key. Maintaining a healthy microbiome is absolutely key to maintaining a healthy alkaline blood level. Now, and more importantly, as Dr. Robert O. Young is the expert as far as I'm concerned on that, and the interstitial fluid. But getting out in nature, we should all be able to get out in nature wherever we live. And getting out in nature, particularly in forests or by the seaside, anywhere with ferns growing, you will be breathing in a really, really healthy microbiome. So we talk a lot about getting out in nature, don't we, Andy? But it's so important.
Yeah, I didn't know that, what you just said there. That's new to me, about where there's ferns and things like that. I didn't realize that affected the microbiome. Wow, it's amazing.
Massively. And trees, and Andy is a big fan of barefoot, and so am I. You wouldn't want to give me a manicure because of it, because our sign's black here, but it's wonderful. And so getting out in nature, so there's a lot of things you can do for free. Spend as much time out in nature as you can. Spending time with pets and animals is really, really healthy for your microbiome. And bear in mind, if you're getting out with nature, if you've got dogs, take them with you, because they need to be out in nature. Cats need to be out in nature. We need to be out in nature. Ferns, trees, the beach all have amazingly healthy microbiomes. The second thing is your choices of what you eat. Now, Andy and I could talk all day about this, but talking about making the right food choices, because this is what's going to really feed your microbiome with the right things to sustain a healthy balance, isn't it, Andy?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I totally appreciate organic is more expensive, and I've got my own views on why they make organic so expensive, etc., etc., etc. It's really healthy, isn't it? It's not a lot of money to be made in healthy people, is it? Really? So yeah, eat organic whenever possible. I totally appreciate people are on budgets. Just eat as clean as you can. Eat as clean as you possibly can. I'm going to give you an idea. 70% of my monthly budget for food goes on products like this. Okay, 70%, at least 70%, and my monthly food budget goes on products like these. So only about 30% of my food budget goes on actual food. Okay, I feel fantastic. I'm 55. I have sucked in so many toxins over the years as a firefighter. It's incredible. I know my body is really toxic, but on the scale of things, I'd say I'm well above average to the average person, but I know it's toxic. I'm consistently working on detoxifying. I eat as clean as I possibly can most of the time. I do like a tequila. I do like a pizza now and then. Okay, but we've got to have fun in life, haven't we? We got to be sensible. Try and stick to maybe an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, eat as clean as you can. 20% of the time, you know, break and have some fun. But you can make eating healthy really fun. For example, today on my Facebook page, I threw out, I love bread, but I don't eat a lot of it. But when I do, it's something like wholemeal sourdough. I toasted a couple of pieces of wholemeal sourdough, big slab of butter on there, Kerrygold butter, grass-fed butter. I mixed up my own guacamole, threw that on there, and it was a beautiful snack. Okay. There's lots and lots of things that you can do to eat clean and enjoy things at the same time. So yeah, just eat as clean as you can within your budget. Make the correct choices going down those shopping aisles. Locally sourced wherever possible, farms wherever possible, local greengrocers wherever possible. When you go to the supermarkets, which most people do, pick the right aisles. Okay, pick the correct aisles, pick the fresh veg. Don't pick the processed food aisles, or if you do, as minimal as possible. And drink clean water. I was spending a lot of money every year on water. Okay, then I bought myself a water filter. The water filter, it cost a few £100, but man, I'm now saving about £500 a year on water. So do anything that you can within your budget, within your stress limits, within your life, to eat as clean as you can, and you will notice the benefits as time goes on.
Yeah, and absolutely, Starlight, you absolutely have to eat alkaline, and eating as many greens as possible. I've done quite a few interviews with Dr. Robert O. Young, who wrote the pH Miracle and is an absolute expert on the alkaline diet. Is absolutely key, but we can't cover everything in one video. So eating, as I said, getting out in nature, eating as healthily as possible to create an alkaline environment, which means not only choosing the right foods, but also as clean as you possibly can, is really important. And then the final thing, which Andy's just talked about, is is actually water. Water quality is so important. And, you know, I think it's really important because a lot of our water systems, I mean, in my past, I'm a biologist, and in one of my jobs in the past, I had to do a master's in groundwater chemistry. And even 20 years ago, I was horrified when I found out what was in the UK tap water, and it's a lot worse now. So investing in a good water filter or water distillation, or if you've got lucky enough to be able to have lateral spring or well water near you, is one of the best investments. So there's lots of things you can do with which aren't going to be causing budgets. And Andy and I just wanted to share this particular product with you because we're both always being asked, well, what can I do for this? What can I do for that? And it's really important because to have a combination of what suits your budget, what suits your lifestyle, and just making sure you realize there is a lot that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at some of the comments. I think you may need to get Starlight on sometime. She's an interview Starlight. She's got some great comments coming up there. Really good. I really like them. Yeah. Really keep everything within your budget, guys. You know, you've got a budget. I know it's easy. It's easy to say and preach, you know, what is your health worth? But we've got budgets. We've got to live by budgets. So all I would say is take out as much of the crap within your diet as you can and replace it with really good stuff. I'm going to use a ridiculous analogy here. If you're eating 10 Mars bars a day, take them out and replace it with a broccoli. What's more expensive, one broccoli or 10 Mars bars? And that's a ridiculous analogy, but you get what I'm saying. Take the rubbish out of your diet and bring in the good stuff. And when you bring in high quality nutrition, organic nutrition, the nutrition is far denser, which means you need less of it. It's an emotional feeling. I'm hungry. I need food. I need this, that, and the other. There's one or two things happening there in my experience. One, the food giants out there design foods, cereals and things like that to stimulate, without going into any depth, stimulating the hormones in your body to tell you that you need more food. Okay, if you take that rubbish out of your diet and replace it with higher quality, more dense nutrition, your body will say, I'm satisfied, because we're used to eating too much food because of what the food giants have done out there. Great book by, I think, a guy called Paul Stitt. I think his name might be Paul Stitt. It's called Beating the Food Giants. He's the ex-head food scientist of, I think it was Quakers. He blew the lid on food giants. Beating the Food Giants, a phenomenal book to read, and he will tell you how all of these things are put together. So just do everything you can, eat good quality, drink good quality, and get rid of the rubbish out your diet. 3 simple things.
Yeah. And I promised I'd come back just finally to Diana about your kitty. I'm really sorry to hear that, Diana. Unfortunately, I would need a lot more information about it to be able to advise on that. But if they are shaking, it's obviously a serious problem. So I assume you have taken the cat to the vet. You might want to look at some of the videos that I've done with the vet, Dr. Timo. You'd need to look at diet, and you'd need to make sure there's no poisoning there. So one of the first things I would say would be to get a diagnosis. And absolutely, I can help you with that, but we would need to know a lot more information because there's lots of different things that could cause that. But if your kitty is shaky, even when he's still, that is a medical emergency and he does need to see the vet. So really good luck with that. So we've got lots of brilliant participants on here. I mean, the people, as you said, Andy, that are on this chat are very well informed. We can see a lot from their comments. So, you know, it is almost preaching to the converted, but it's really important in these times that we really concentrate on things that we can do. So if you do nothing else today, tonight, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are, please do get out in nature and, you know, cuddle an animal, breathe in that fresh air, and if possible, get barefoot somewhere in nature, and that will really do you some good. And I agree, Visionary Endeavours by Susan, as the wise ones say, food is your medicine, and good food, good mood. So I think that's a lovely way. Have you got anything else you want to add, Andy?
Not really, but I'm stealing that from Visionary Endeavours by Susan. I'm taking that good food, good mood. I love that. I'm done, Catherine. I could speak. I could, like you say, I could speak forever about this stuff. I'm so passionate about it. But you know, you got this on replay as well. Just do everything you can within your power to eat clean and drink clean, and go barefoot. Go for walks in nature, by the sea, and your life will improve. It will improve. And then if you want to spend money, you can spend as much money as you're willing to spend. You want to spend to take things to the next level.
Yeah. Fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone, today. We will put up, Angie and I will be doing another one next week. We will put it up in more in advance. Now I've worked out how to show the live streams in advance, and we love having your interaction. So thank you so much for joining us today. Take care.
Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Really appreciate it.